One of the biggest headlines of the day came out of Fort Worth, Texas, as the former Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean was found guilty today. We are going to be joined now by our colleagues down there in Fort Worth. Macy Jenkins, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about this new guilty verdict? Macy?
Hi, Andy. Well, Aaron Dean was taken into custody this afternoon, and the next phase starts tomorrow. That is the sentencing phase. Now, a manslaughter conviction carries a sentence of somewhere between 2 and 20 years, but he could be eligible for probation and community supervision without serving time behind bars. A jury will also have to decide what that sentence will be.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Aaron York Dean, guilty of the offense of manslaughter.
Former Fort Worth police officer Aaron Dean showed little emotion as Judge George Gallagher read Thursday's verdict. Guilty of manslaughter for the 2019 shooting death of Atatiana Jefferson. Outside of the courtroom, tears and outrage from some who were disappointed the conviction was not for murder. Others were more subdued with their reactions.
I don't know what to say at this moment, honestly. Just trying to gather all the thoughts together.
My spirit is not feeling good right now.
Jefferson's siblings left the courtroom immediately, still under a gag order and unable to talk about the case. Witnesses and others directly involved in the case cannot talk until after sentencing. And while there was disappointment from some, others saw this conviction as a step forward.
I've been here every day of this trial, and I applaud Ashley and Dale. They had a tough job, but they got something. And I got to, explain to the community something is better than nothing.
Years ago, he wouldn't have never gotten tried. And if he did, he wouldn't have gotten convicted of any felony. So it's a small step, but it's a gain for us.
I think it's the appropriate conviction, charge of manslaughter. I didn't think it met the bar of murder. That is the intent, meaning he intended to kill her. He did kill her. And the jury found, in my opinion, that he was reckless and it caused the death of someone else. They didn't buy the argument that he was in fear of his life.
Dean taken into custody Thursday afternoon, a new booking photo posted on the Tarrant County Jail's website. It took roughly 12 hours over 2 days for the jury to make their decision. Yesterday, the judge gave them the option to consider a lesser charge of manslaughter when they received their instructions. Former Dallas County DA Russell Wilson says they likely spent a lot of time deciding whether Dean's act was reckless versus intentional.
I'm presuming during their deliberations, they focused very heavily on the body camera video, as we anticipated they would. And then there were different interpretations of that.
Friday morning, the jury meets again to determine Dean's sentence. Wilson says we should expect to hear from more witnesses describing Dean's character and experience as an officer, as well as the life and loss of Atatiana Jefferson.
So I expect the debate, if you will, regarding the appropriate sentence to be nearly as intense as the trial.
Now, Wilson says it's hard to predict, but it is likely that the jury could come up with a decision on sentencing by tomorrow afternoon. Andy?
Thank you so much. And I do have a question to ask you, because obviously you were covering this trial and it's gone on for quite some time. With Aaron Dean, give me a little sense of what happened. What was the sense like when the jury finally came to that verdict? What was the kind of emotion in that room?
Of course, the judge, right before he made that announcement and read the jury's verdict, excuse me, the judge said that he would remove anyone if there was too much of an outburst. So I think everyone was bracing themselves and trying not to overreact or react out loud. And in that case, there were not many audible emotions. Some of the family of Atatiana Jefferson walked out of the courtroom immediately after that verdict was read. But you saw Aaron Dean showing very little emotion. But he was in the courtroom for quite some time after the jury left and after the verdict was read. His family was in there. We caught a quick glimpse when we were outside in the hallway. We just saw a few moments of some of his family members and supporters hugging him, and it seemed like they were more relaxed than we had seen them, looking very tense. And then, of course, when they came out of the courtroom, we could see them just looking straight ahead. But again, they're under the gag order, so understandable that many people that are very close to this case couldn't say anything. but we were pretty tense waiting for that verdict yesterday and today. We thought maybe we'd be here late last night, and then the judge made that decision to send everyone home and send the jury home, not home, to a hotel to be sequestered about 7 p.m. And then they came back this morning and made that decision. But a lot of emotions in the hallway afterwards. But in that courtroom, it was dead silent, and everyone was really just waiting to hear. You know, not a lot of screaming, but the judge had warned them ahead of time.
Definitely.
Andy?
Thank you so much, Macy Jenkson, for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. We appreciate your time and your coverage of this case. As we continue on here on Live Now from Fox, as you heard, some mixed emotions there in that courtroom. Found guilty of manslaughter, not guilty of murder, and not guilty of manslaughter. So, of course, a reduced sentence there. We're going to continue on here on Live Now from Fox. Here's a statement from the mayor of Fort Worth, Texas, Maddie Parker. She said, quote, "Today's verdict provides a measure of justice, though it does not change the fact that a tragedy occurred that should have never happened. This tragedy for me has always been about Atatiana Jefferson, about her life as a daughter, sister, and aunt, and her lasting legacy. Many people in our community are hurting, and we must come together with compassion and grace. Our prayers are with the jury as they continue their service in the sentencing phase. May God bless Atatiana's memory and continue to be with her family."